Hi, so today on Lonnie Cooks, we're going to be cooking for Etta and her family on Mother's Day. Etta is our photographer, and we are going to be making almond crusted chicken with kale, Crispies, and polenta. So we're going to start off by preheating the oven to 425 for the kale Crispies. So today we have two kinds of kale, green and purple for some variety, and we're going to season them before we put them in the oven. We're going to start off with some extra virgin olive oil, and we have two bunches, one green, one purple. So we have two trays, 3 tablespoons of olive oil per each. Just spread it on. This helps the kale get really crunchy and makes it really crispy. Okay, then 3 for each. Okay, just give it a little shake. Okay, now some for here. The oven is preheated and we're gonna add the kale trays. This is my new oven mitt. It's some polenta, and polenta goes really well with chicken in my perspective. So what we're gonna do is, it's kind of like rice. You boil some water, or we're gonna use chicken broth instead, and then you add it when the water is boiling. So I added about 5 to 6 cups of chicken broth, and we're gonna turn on the pan to pretty high heat because we want it to boil as fast as we can. We have 3 stations to dip the chicken in. We have all-purpose, gluten-free flour, almond butter, at which we're going to add stuff to, and our gluten-free breadcrumbs. We're going to add 2/3 cups of milk to our almond butter mixture. We're going to add the honey now to the almond and milk mixture. Here we go. There's 1 tablespoon for the second. About less than a teaspoon of salt to the mixture. And then we're done. We're going to start dipping our chicken in these 3 and frying them in the pan in a second. Okay, so we're going to start heating up the pan, medium-high heat, and we're gonna need a lot of corn oil because we're making a lot of chicken. So we're gonna add about enough oil to fill the pan, so a couple of tablespoons. Let that heat up. After about 10 minutes, we're gonna give the kale a nice stir just to make sure the heat is distributed. Okay, so we have about a little more than 2 pounds of chicken breasts. I cut them in half so that they're very thin, like this one. It's very nice, and it cooks a lot easier. So we're just gonna roll them in the flour, shake them, and then put them in the almond mixture. Want to really get it in there. Shake it a little, and then the breadcrumbs. And then the pan. Pan needs to be a little hotter. Get it really in there. Okay. Now the breadcrumbs, and just do this for all of them. It's been 20 minutes. The kale got a little more brown than we expected. So these are good. You can still see the green, but these kind of got burnt. But some people like the burnt taste. So we'll see how that goes. Here we are. We're frying the chicken. Let's flip it. Look at that. Very golden brown. Perfect. We're going to let the others have a little more time. Then we're going to flip them. The broth is boiling, so we're going to add our 2 cups of polenta. Okay, stir continuously for 1 minute. After a few minutes on high heat, the chicken should be done, but just to make sure, you want to cut in it a little to make sure it's white inside. And just do that a little. And that looks great. So this one's done, and the breadcrumbs should be pretty brown. The almond crusted chicken and kale Crispies were inspired by recipes from the Food Network. That's the end of this show. Be sure to check out all the videos on lonniecooks.wordpress.com.